Hi and welcome to Preloved Chica. I'm really excited today because I have got with me Hannah Birchall from HB UK Consultancy. And Hannah has done a lot of PR work over the last 11 years, specialising in fashion and lifestyle. And Hannah is connected with me because of my daughter-in-law. So that's how we got to know each other. And because she's got so much information about previously loved shopping, I just thought, yeah, I need to pick your brain, Hannah. So, Hannah, where are you based? Where are you based?
I'm based just outside of Brighton, but I travel all over. I've got European clients, clients in Switzerland and Austria, so I spend a lot of time there, and then I'm in London a few days a week as well.
Brilliant. And I know you've done quite a bit of PR work for Buy My Wardrobe in the past. Tell me a little bit about that organisation.
I worked with Buy My Wardrobe, just sort of helping them set up their PR and marketing strategy, really. I'd known Cal, who's the owner, for a couple of years before, so that was really interesting because that was probably about 5 or 6 years ago now, when arguably pre-loved fashion wasn't as big online as it is now. So it's been really nice to see how they've kind of grown since then, and likewise their other kind of competitors as well.
So it really has taken off in your experience. You've been in this whole thing for 11 years. For me, it's just a hobby that's gone a bit crazy, but tell me how you think it's grown and developed.
Well, I think in general, as you know, we all shop for fashion online now. You know, websites like Net-a-Porter, people never thought that you would buy designer items online because they're so expensive. You'd never dream of spending £3,000 on a jacket from you've seen on a tiny little screen. But as we now know, due to the huge success of Net-a-Porter, that's the case. And I think probably early on, the idea of pre-loved or vintage fashion, people thought the same thing. But now it's really becoming kind of a day-to-day part of people's shopping activities online. Lots of the smaller boutiques that previously you might have only been able to find in your own local town, or a friend of yours might have had a great vintage shop that you wanted to go to. A lot of those smaller boutiques will now sell via sites like Etsy or Asos Marketplace or even eBay. So even those smaller places, you've still got accessibility to some of those products that they're selling.
So what are the main places that somebody should look if they're interested in previously loved or vintage clothing? What are your top places that they should go to?
Well, I think overall you can find a lot of things on Etsy or Asos Marketplace or eBay if you're looking in general. Asos Marketplace is a good place to start, particularly because it covers all budgets. So how it works is you can either browse for an item like you would do on a regular shopping site, or you can browse by trend, or you can browse by specific boutique. So say you've seen in a magazine that I think it's Peekaboo Vintage that Alexa Chung was wearing recently at London Fashion Week, for example. So if you saw that and you really liked Alexa's style, they sell through Asos Marketplace, so you can go into their boutique and you can see all kind of 1,000+ items that they're selling online. It's a nice thing to do as well if you're just looking for something to wear. So for example, say you're looking for a new printed summer dress, you might go on Topshop, you might go on Asos, you might go on whatever your favorite stores are, and then maybe go onto Asos Marketplace as well and make that part of your everyday shopping browsing, if you like, because you might find then that you find a one-off piece that you weren't expecting, and actually maybe something even cheaper than you would have found in your regular high street shops as well.
So is it much cheaper then, or is it just that people just like the whole idea of something that's previously loved?
I think it's probably more that people like the idea of something that's pre-loved. I mean, the Asos Marketplace is a good example because you can get a bit of everything on there. Some of the other sites that I like are slightly more kind of specialist, so probably maybe more for vintage hunters or designer fashion hunters. So for example, there's a website called the Vestiaire Collective, which is an international website.
Say that again slowly. What's it called?
Vestiaire Collective, French. I think it means changing room or something like that.
Ah, well, I tell you what, we'll have to put all the links to these places underneath the video afterwards. But that is really interesting. So it's a French site, is it?
Yes, I believe so. And they have a lot of international sellers on there, so they have a huge amount of stock But it's probably the best place to go if you're looking for designer accessories, in particular designer handbags. So it's not cheap. I mean, we're talking they've got items on there selling for like up to £10,000, so super, super expensive. But if there is something that you've always wanted, perhaps you've always wanted a vintage Chanel bag, everything is authentic on the site. They check every piece before it goes on. It's specific sellers, again, that are putting the items on, the pre-loved items. So you know that whatever you're buying is genuine from there. So it's probably more of a kind of specialist collector's thing, or for people that just love fashion and obviously have that kind of budget. But that's quite an interesting one to look at if you're looking for something, you know, quite sort of specific, or you're really into your accessories.
So can you just tell me a little bit about everything is authenticated? Never come across that. So how do they do that then? I suppose, is it receipts from purchase or what?
Yeah, I mean, generally, I mean, I'm not a huge expert on it, but generally, when you buy a designer item like a designer bag, you will get a certificate that comes with it. So if you do ever buy anything designer, you know, these things do tend to retain some kind of value, like a Chanel bag, for example. So it's always important to keep not so much the receipt, but keep that certificate of authenticity, because if you do then go to sell it onto a website, or, you know, sell it yourself via a website, or maybe sell it to a vintage store locally, they then know that that's authentic. So I think it's just as simple as that. And with Vestiaire, as I understand it, they check all of these documents from their sellers before the things actually go online. So you know that you're not ever going to be buying something that isn't genuine. It can be a little bit tricky because some of the sellers are international, so there can be longer shipping times. Likewise, obviously, you have returns policy issues that you wouldn't necessarily have with non-pre-loved fashion, because you're spending a lot of money. That seller might not necessarily let you return it. So all of those things are worth bearing in mind when you're liaising directly with individual sellers through sites like that.
I see. So that's the one that seems quite high-end. What else? What else do you recommend?
I really like Buy My Wardrobe, obviously. It's been really lovely to see how well they've grown. They don't have probably quite as much product as Vestiaire, but what's nice about Buy My Wardrobe is it's more of a community of sellers. So they're a UK-based company. So how it works is you sign up and you can kind of follow people, much like you would do on Instagram or Twitter, and you can follow specific individuals. So it's less about boutiques and it's more about the individuals. And with Buy My Wardrobe, they have a lot of the UK's leading fashion editors and fashion directors on there, lots of kind of opinion formers, a couple of celebrities, that kind of thing. So it's nice to be able to engage with those individual people. So you could follow someone whose style you really liked, or you could follow someone who was just the same dress size as you even. So then you see when they're uploading things. And obviously a lot of their sellers, a lot of their clients, because they work in the industry, they're getting beautiful pieces and one-off pieces a lot. They've got a much bigger turnaround of clothes than the normal likes of you and I might have, for example. So it's a nice thing to be on there, so you can kind of snap up their hand-me-downs if you like.
That sounds so interesting. I know that you've done some work for them, but I've not checked out the website, so I'm going to do that after this because that sounds so interesting. It's almost like Airbnb, you know, where you want to stay in people's places because you've seen what they're like as people, you've read their, the biography about them. It's this sort of thing with clothing, then, isn't it? Where you get to know the person. Yeah.
And it's nice because, I mean, I quite like it for shoes as well, because they have quite a lot of it. It's not all designer items. There's varying kind of price points, but they do tend to be pieces that are slightly more unusual. So if you're looking for something kind of quite specific, then it's arguably maybe not the best place to go. It's quite a nice place to just kind of browse, you know, if you find that you've got a certain amount of money that you might want to spend, or they always have loads of, and I follow people that are the same shoe size as me, because generally I kind of only go on there really for shoes and things like that. So I hadn't been on there for ages actually, but I knew we were chatting today, so I went on earlier, and yeah, a bit of a mistake. I haven't bought anything yet. But there's a few things that I've got my eye on. So
oh my gosh, I can imagine it's quite addictive once you start.
Yeah.
Yeah, so excellent. We're coming now to the end of our time together, but I just wondered if there's anything else before we say goodbye. Were there any other sites you wanted to share, or have we covered the key ones?
There's probably just one that I think is worth bearing in mind if you're looking for something for a very, very special occasion. So, for example, a wedding or your own wedding. There's a UK stylist called Grace Woodward who has recently opened a boutique called Graceland in Hitchin in Hertfordshire.
Okay.
Now, Grace is obviously a stylist, but she has lots of famous friends and fashionistas. So she has access really to some of the most wonderful pre-loved and vintage clothing from these people. So it's very, very specific. She's got a small edit that she puts online, so you can buy online. Like I said, it's a handful of pieces, but the pieces on there are absolutely beautiful. She's got vintage McQueen pieces on there at the moment, which is really relevant because they've got the big retrospective museum at the big retrospective exhibition, at the V&A at the moment. So if you were looking for something really, really special for a special occasion, then that's the place to go, because she has the most incredible things that perhaps you wouldn't necessarily know where to start otherwise if you were looking for something that kind of spectacular. But aside from that, I mean, obviously some of these places I'm talking about, they are more expensive, but I would say as a general tip, just try and make it part of your everyday browsing. Or if you're going down to the high street because you're looking for a little black dress for the weekend, for example, do take a bit of time to go onto Asos Marketplace or go onto Buy My Wardrobe and just quickly search black dresses and just see what comes up, because you could find something really fabulous for a tenner, or you could find something really, really special for £1,000. It's really as varied as that.
Wow, that is so exciting. Thank you so, so much, Hannah. That's great advice. Now, if anyone is listening today and you've got your own previously loved business and you want help with promoting, don't forget Hannah is a great PR expert, so get in touch and come back next time, because we do this show regularly and we'd love to invite you to come onto the show with your previously loved treasures to share with us. So thanks again. Till next time. Bye for now.